Hello, public internet people. Woo! Okay, so
we have 0 viewers.
we have 0. No, it doesn't matter. If you're hearing this, we are doing this for fun, especially because we're going to test it next week. So this is not planned. If you hear me swear 10x normal, please forgive me.
Yeah.
And usually we'll do it with video, but this morning we're not very organized. So we're just testing this out and seeing what the quality is like. The big question we have is if it's too echoey or awful. This is really cool, actually. It presents it like this as well, so like you can see us talking.
Cool. Oh, because I presented you to the.
Oh, cool. Yeah, if you click off it,
stop presenting.
It will actually.
Will it switch when I talk?
I don't know, because the video is delayed. Okay, so let us know in the YouTube chat if it's like awful or not. Because we can always turn off a microphone, and that's kind of what we're trying to figure out here.
Yes. Hello, all 3 viewers.
Oh yeah, it does switch between us. It's actually kind of cool. Like it just comes up with an icon. It's quite.
Oh wait, what's up? No.
Oh,
there it is.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool.
Great. These people, the people who tuned in are like, what?
As long as we don't talk over each other too much. We got 4 viewers. What up, 4 viewers? What up? I'm not in Discord right now, so I can't see what's going on. We're not. Yeah.
Oh, Greg says it's great.
Oh, hi, Greg.
Cool. All right, let's do this.
Okay.
Oh God, I feel stage fright now. Even though there's like one person listening, I don't want to have to like. You know how many times I mess up the intro?
Yeah.
Like, well, I've forgotten all of it.
This is going to be great behind the scenes for everybody because you can see what gets edited out.
So many things. Oh dear. Like every week we're like, oh, maybe that's not right. We should delete that.
Yeah. I just try to get rid of awkward stuff.
And we talk about how we just want to like copy other podcasts a lot.
Do we?
Yes, no.
Oh yeah, we love that. Okay. So Owen, it's episode 66.
It is.
And then you're gonna intro that we're doing a live stream.
Yeah, I'll do the intro. I'll mention it afterwards, and then we'll just kick it off. You've got the notion.
Great.
Let's do it.
And also, don't forget, Frederica's not here, so we gotta.
Oh yeah, I'm so sad.
Say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sad too.
We'll do the. You'll see.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Oh god, this is terrible. I really. It's just me and you, and like the only difference is this hangout. It still feels terrible.
It feels really different.
Everybody, look away. Even though this is the same. Okay. So it's episode 66. Did I say it twice wrong last week?
Yeah, that's why I put it in the outro, because I thought it was so funny.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Episode 65 under the wrong episode. Okay. Great. Corey is listening. Sounds good.
Hey, Corey.
I sound more muddled.
That's weird. Owen's got the nicer microphone.
Yeah, I do have a nicer one. Oh, I'm going to keep my shit, Zach. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Every time.
Owen's phone goes off every time, and I have to edit it out of every episode.
Oh, that is an echo. Go. Okay, we'll just start. Zach, can I just take a photo of what's happening?
Yeah.
Just like stay right there. This is perfect. This is behind the scenes footage. Oh, Corey says it's not going for both. Okay, let's just see how it goes.
Okay.
We can mute one.
Yeah, we can like.
It's out of hand. Okay, so I'm just gonna post the behind the scenes photos, then we can actually start. I mean, this just got very exciting. That's all. Okay, he's posting in general. Behind the scenes plus send. I wish that Discord will on the computer. Okay, I can actually do this now.
Yeah.
It's really making quite some noise.
Yeah.
What if I just like eject it? Then I just won't have as much computer.
Owen's Surface Book Pro too.
It's also really hot already.
It's really hot. I know because we're in the same place, we talk about the weather less.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, fire emoji degrees Celsius.
Fire emoji. Okay, well, let's do it. And then if we can always take a break, right? So let's do this. Episode 66, Under the Hood. Hey, you're listening to Charge Podcast, episode 66. the podcast that looks at tech under the hood. I'm your host, Owen, and joining me today is your co-host,
Zach. I'm here. It's Zach.
And there's no Frederica.
Frederica is having a great holiday, so we are going to let her have her holiday and not make her dial into
Correct.
the podcast.
/ she told us that she would not dial in. She was like, sorry, but I'm not doing it. And I was like, I wasn't expecting it.
I wasn't
but sorry, it was obliged.
I'm good. I'm really glad to know that for when I go on holiday.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, I'm not going to do that.
Well, this is the point. It's like, we can just do this. I did one with only Federica, and then the next evolution of this is you two just do it together, like without me. So it's great.
I can't wait to screw up the intro.
I know, it's great. And then you just talk about how the other person isn't there for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Do you think Frederica and I will just talk about like drawing?
Yeah,
that'd be fun. Charles Drawing Podcast.
It's the stylus edition. Oh my god. Okay, so wow, I don't even know where to start this week. I was gonna try and like welcome you back, and then realize that you were back last week. I think like what we should bring up is that we are currently doing a test of our live stream. Next week, our June 4th Monday. Apple's holding its developer conference, and so WWDC, it's Monday here, it's at night. I think it's San Francisco, like 9 a.m.
Oh, that's so strange. So yeah. I've always lived in the States for it, and for the past 7 years I've been in San Francisco for it. So it's always been like 10 a.m. in the morning, and I'm always trying to like get out of meetings like last minute so that I can watch it. So I just like miss a half hour here or there because I'm like, I gotta go to a meeting, and then I go back. And everyone's like, why are you looking at your phone so much in a meeting? Anyway.
So, okay, I'll tell you how it goes down in New Zealand, just because it's probably even funnier.
Oh, yeah.
It's usually 6 a.m. And so we used to hold, like, streaming parties with breakfast.
That's so fun.
It was great, except it was exhausting. Like, I'm getting up for a giant information at 6 in the morning. It's, like, hilarious how far these people will go. Anyway, so long story short, WWDC is on Monday. We're currently doing a live stream on YouTube, which you can find in the show notes if you are curious afterwards about the things that Zach edits out that we say that are inappropriate. Do not do a diff because it's probably a lot. But it's kind of like a test. So on Monday, okay, let me start again. So we're going to delete that whole part. Yeah. So come Monday, I'm going to start one more time. Come Monday, we will be live streaming after the WWDC thing. I thought about doing it during it and having takes, but I actually realized it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it'd just be me reading my Twitter and laughing
and reacting. And also, it doesn't. Most people just want to watch it, and so I think we can just do a quick, short live stream afterwards, 15, 30 minutes, and it'll be an edition of the podcast. And so if you are interested in listening to that, check the Twitter accounts. It will also be linked to in the show notes. We'll have a scheduled event that you can like subscribe to know when it goes live in the YouTube app. It's very fancy.
Ooh, that is fancy.
It is weird though, because you use Google Hangouts to send it. I'm like, who is using this app except apparently us right now? So,
Google Hangouts?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty popular. I know that
it's
Google's
popular.
Forcing people over into Meet finally and Enterprise. So I don't know how long it'll stick around, but it's got that weird, Google thing going on where it's like there's Meet, there's Hangout, there's upcoming chat, there's Allo, there's Duo.
Yeah.
We've talked about this on the podcast before, but
Google is so bad at launching things.
Well, it'll just be really interesting to see how they like focus their chat products.
Right, but they won't.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's segue right into WWDC immediately. I want to do a lightning round of WWDC takes, mostly because so I follow these rumors religiously. I hate myself for it. I have like so much self-loathing because I just don't care that much. However, it is fascinating to guess what Apple was up to, and this year, out of all years, is maybe interesting because not that much has leaked yet.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean. Can I start with my take?
Please.
I have a couple, but my take relating to this is, they talked about focusing on like fix-it stuff.
There was that leak about that.
Yeah. I think they even said it publicly at their last event of like they need to focus on fixing problems and making their OS better, making their hardware more reliable. I don't know if they said that one out loud, but it was sort of implied. But so maybe this is the like fix-it dub of like, hey, here's all of the stuff that changed that developers need to know,
Right.
because we're trying to make it better. And here's tools we're building to make it easier for developers to fix their problems that we've caused or whatever.
Got it.
That's my first guess.
So you think it's the apology tour? It's like the Taylor Swift versus Kanye. I'm sorry, but Beyonce is the best
Wow.
phone manufacturer of all time.
You know, if they get Beyonce on stage at Dub Dub,
It would be amazing, but it would be like, and then they'll put her album in everybody's phones and everyone will love it. Unlike U2, which, by the way, that was only like 2 years ago. This still blows my mind.
Oh, that feels so long ago.
Total segue. I want to just bring this up for 1 second. You can do a data export with Apple now, finally. You
really?
Can export all your data. It's useless because it just puts it in nonsense folders. Except in the iTunes folder, it's hilarious. You get all these crazy folders, and then there's one called U2 free album.
Oh my god!
Oh man, it's like part of a data export. Oh, Apple! Like you can't even not have free U2 in your data export. I don't want it.
That's hilarious.
Oh, anyway.
Okay. So my other prediction.
Social apology to us, sort of. Like it's like the hello, we still love you. We make good software. We swear to God to it.
Yeah, I mean, every event for a while now, it's like we didn't forget about creatives. Here's an iMac Pro that's
we're gonna make it in 2 years. We're gonna make the iMac Pro.
So yeah, I mean, this is historically not like a huge focus on hardware, right? Like this is sometimes it's new hardware and here's the cool software, and they have to release the hardware because they've some element of the software where their APIs needs you to know what you're building for.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's not when the new iPhone comes out, so. You know,
there's never new hardware at WWDC, not for the last 4 years.
Well, what they do sometimes is, not in the last 4 years. They used to do like that's when you'd get processor boosts in the like Mac line.
Yeah, quietly just do it on the website.
Yeah, and so when I worked at the Apple Store, it was always like the week of WW was always big because it's already the conference, and at the time it was in Moscone Center, like 2 blocks away.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'd already have like a ton of work to do. And then they'd be like, okay, here's some new hardware that showed up this morning on the dock. Like, don't forget that.
God. Yeah, because that you would never get prior warning about those things. That's
no, you don't know. Yeah.
I've heard those stories of like, oh, by the way, we now have this crazy new Mac that you have to explain to people today that you just got. Good luck.
They did a pretty good job of doing like briefings in the store.
Yeah, you'd have like one person with the briefing, right? Or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, my other prediction is, do you know at like the beginning of WWDC every year, they do the like, this is why we're better than Google. Look how many phones we sell.
Every year, it's like, here is the Android bar, which is not, never says Android, it just says other operating systems, and it's green with a picture of a robot.
If I'm not mistaken, they went as bold as saying Android last year.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And it was like satisfaction of Android devices. It was the quality, it was the price, it was all of those things.
Yeah, it's like pie charts and bar graphs. But so they used to be like, we are selling way more phones than Google. But I think, Google's catching up. Like, by volume, there's no way Google can do iPhones because Apple's a hardware company and it's their main focus is the iPhone. So, like, they're going to sell more iPhones and they're going to make more revenue off iPhones. Yeah. It's not Google's goal.
Yeah.
Google's goal is, like, put out a really good phone that people want to use that make, phone manufacturers also make good phones.
But it's also, like, smart in the sense that they're not going to make money from the hardware and they don't depend on it.
Right.
And it's not their business model. And long term, the hardware won't make any more money because it's commodity.
Right.
So it's smart.
Yeah, it's very smart. And so I just think we're at a place where this might be our, hopefully, knock on wood, last chance for Apple to do this.
I find it so infuriating every year. At both, like, I think Google has also done this in the past. I just find it stupid because you're at a developer conference and they're going to talk about how great they are.
It's childish.
But yeah, and I will say that the funniest thing about this will be, I look forward to them probably saying something like, we have the best cameras, the greatest cameras of all time. And all I'll be thinking is, not anymore.
Well, I mean, the best camera hardware, maybe, but the software behind it, I mean,
they lose.
I'm so surprised at what Google pulled off.
Yeah.
And I continue to be surprised every time I take a picture.
Well, have you seen this whole thing that The Verge has been doing since earlier in the year when the Pixel came out? There's a couple of reporters there who've only been using that for photos rather than carrying a DSLR to events.
Really?
Yeah, and then they, every few months, do a recap post where they're like, by the way, these are the events that we didn't take a camera to, and by the way, I just blew your mind because the photos are great.
And again, this is with the Pixel.
Yeah, Pixel 2. It's amazing. I love it because one of them was like the car event in Paris, I think, that they have every year. Oh, God, I'm going to get slaughtered by the car people. No, but the car people. But the
Transformers.
Yeah, but no, the whole But the whole point is, I think it would be interesting to see if they are more direct about the Pixel this year, because Google never had a game of the fight now all previous years, and this year I think they came out all guns blazing. So we will see. Okay, so those are some interesting takes. Here's my prediction. I have no prediction. No, this year is blank. Usually we have a lot more insight into what they're up to, and I do agree with you that I think this year will be very much so more focused on developer tooling and making them happy. Just like to stop making them moan so much. Like I almost can imagine them making a special 15-inch MacBook Pro with crazy shit in it for developers only, just to make them shut up. Like, here's the one with all the performance. Buy this if you give a shit.
Interesting.
I can imagine. And there's rumors about an i9 15-inch MacBook Pro, which is
really
absurd because nobody asked for this. But
yeah,
great. Anyway, so I have two predictions. I think that's one of them. And then I also have the other one that I think maybe Apple just got really good at not talking and not leaking stuff, and it's actually bigger than we think. And I am 50-50 on this one, because the optimistic side of me wants to be like, look at this, Apple pulled a bunny out of a hat. And the other side is, they shipped AirPlay 2 4 days before WWDC, where they announced it a year ago.
Okay, this is a random thought.
Yeah.
When did they move into the new headquarters?
This it's like 6 months, so half a year maybe.
Is the office designed to stop leaking? Like, are people further away from each other and more secluded?
Could be. And they're also just like actually trying to put people in jail when they leak.
Yeah,
that whole thing, which is,
sucks.
by the way, terrible. But anyway, okay. So back to it. I think the 50-50, so this is where I come to, is there's a lot of alluding, and everybody reads into the WWDC invitations,
yeah.
But there's always something in there. Like every year, you're like, oh, right, it's a watch. Like I remember that like 3 years ago. Oh, cool.
Watch out.
Yeah. Anyway, so this year's one is super skeuomorphic, which is hilarious.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. If you haven't seen
it, icon is amazing too.
If you haven't seen it, you definitely have to check it out. And the app for the schedule, the WWDC schedule.
So that's all fine and roses. However, it also implies a lot. There's a lot of like crazy shit in that invite that implies like. So there's this rumor for a long time about marzipan, and that's this. I just love the name. I just want to say I hope they actually call it marzipan.
It's such a Google thing to do.
I know, it's literally like I would imagine it being called that. So this is the code name for the project. We've talked about it before, I think, on the show. Marzipan is one of two things, and I will start with what I don't think it is.
Okay.
So the original rumor was Marzipan is a cross-platform, like you could run iOS apps on the Mac, right? And then vice versa, maybe. Great, that sounds great. I don't think that's exactly what this version of the project is. I think this year we're going to get a UI framework that's common across both platforms, so you can develop apps that adapt based on the platform they're targeted to without Apple having done the port of the iOS apps yet. So I'm basically saying that I think they're going to want to do that, but they're going to start by having like, it's going to be like Bootstrap or like Electron. Basically,
I was about to say, this is Apple's version of Electron.
They're going to make Electron. They're going to be like, you can target all of these devices and not say anything about why.
Pretty smart. Electron's really taking off.
It's killing everybody. It's like, if you're building a desktop app, don't do it.
Yeah, build a web app.
Well, why would you? Like, you've got such low level access now. Electron got really good, and I think Electron is Apple's fundamental threat. Like, it is their like their doomsday scenario, because progressive web apps and shit as well. Like, you can embed them in that thing. You can have this whole desktop app that works offline. It's pretty performant. Slack has gotten, like, everybody uses Slack as the terrible example of like bad performance. Their memory usage is down.
It's great,
insanely low for once. Like, I was looking on my machine yesterday. I have something like 11 teams, and it takes 400 megabytes of RAM. It used to be like 8 gigs.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I think this is really interesting, because if they do go after Electron, like I mean, I'm optimistic on this, that it just makes the web better.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It will be native. So Apple's Electron will be a native solution. That means that developers are distracted from it. That's the thing. I was like excited about it, and then I thought about it really hard, and that's what I think it actually is. However, so this is how I think it might unfold. They're going to put this UI framework out. It's going to be heavily applied, and then next year at WWDC, they trot out, hey, by the way, we're working on like here's a reference device, like they did with the transition.
Oh, interesting.
And by the way, that framework that you developed for the last years, you can now use it and just run the app on your Mac.
That makes so much more sense.
So it's a great example of this would be Tweetbot, right? So right now, Tweetbot builds a Mac app, they build an iOS app. So maybe what they could do is use the UI framework on top of their Mac app that later would allow them to share the code base.
Oh, so that's really smart.
Yeah. However, I don't know. I mean,
well, you know what the problem is going to be is they're going to walled garden it, and it's only going to run on Apple products.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Versus Electron, like I can develop a web app and it's going to work in every web browser.
Oh, I use a Mac and a PC.
Exactly. It's going to work on my Chromebook.
And it's
going to work on my Android phone. It's going to work. Yeah.
That's my problem with it too. I don't like that you lose all the benefits of it. So I think it's a stupid idea. But if it's iOS apps that run on Mac, that's a huge one. I think, objectively, I think that actually might save the platform because you've talked about this before with Android apps on Chrome OS. This is like
amazing.
This is like that, but 10x.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like Twitter app natively on the Mac. Fuck yes.
I really, really, really hope this also spells like the future for the App Store. Yeah. The Mac App Store is not a great experience, I think, to say it kindly. Even to just update your apps, the whole computer slows down. It doesn't make sense like how bad of an experience it is. And the iOS App Store is beautiful now. I don't know if you've seen it on an iPad, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like an enjoyable experience. I like want to spend time in the App Store,
yeah.
which blows my mind that I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I really hope they can bring that experience to the Mac as they like are doubling down and maybe bringing iOS apps.
So that's definitely an interesting one. I think, we'll see long term. It just presents a lot of problems. Like if this is happening, I think the very obvious next step is actually next step. Sorry.
Next joke.
Delete it from the show. See, this is the things that people hear. Okay, so the very obvious next step here is very much so Mac OS being absorbed into iOS, right? So that's where I see the final thing. And there's actually a rumor about this. There's this, I will put it in the show notes, the Star device. There's an LTE-based Mac-like device that's not running iOS or Mac. It's the hybrid that they
becomes OS.
Yeah, well, it's just like Apple Windows 10, basically.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. You mentioned the updates thing before about it being slow. I love it. I love talking about this with people because I'm like the Windows zealot.
Yeah.
But Microsoft in the last update for Windows released this new thing called offline servicing, which is like the lamest name ever. But basically, so Mac OS updates are the worst, right?
Yeah, and they used to be the best.
Yeah, but now it takes like 2 hours, 3 hours.
Sometimes. They became Windows.
Yeah, it might take up to an hour if you're on like the modern hardware. And it will say like 1 minute remaining the whole time. And that's it. Windows, they have this offline servicing thing now. So when the update is downloaded, it installs the whole thing to 98% installed and then asks for the reboot. And so the target with it 3 minutes or less.
Oh my God.
And so what happens is it'll be rebooting and it will say like, we've already installed most of it, we're just doing the final bit. And then boom, you're back. And it makes such a difference.
So that's similar to how it works on the Chromebook. What it does is it downloads and installs the version in the background.
Right.
And when you reboot, it boots you into the new version and deletes the old version.
Got it.
So you're just like, when you're installing Chrome OS, like the updates, it's usually just instant. Because the reboot time is like 4 seconds. From like shut down to restart, it's like 4 seconds.
Got it.
And it's just because it's like switching Chrome browsers.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is genius.
Well, it makes sense because they've got containers as well underneath. Yeah. They're using a lot of really smart shit in their Google OS. It basically is how I imagine Apple will play this out. It's like everything will be containerized. Eventually they can service it, but right now it's junk. I do agree that this year is probably the apology to it. I've got one last thing that I think may or may not happen. I just want to bring it up in case it does.
Yeah, do it.
iOS redesign. That's the other thing you could take away from the invite. So that was the thing that was rumored to be not happening. However, I'm 100% open to the idea of that being a diversionary tactic so it doesn't leak. Is saying like, oh, we're not doing that.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, why not?
Huh.
It would be genius. It's like, and Apple is good at this, right? Like Apple is good at like fucking with people's heads, basically. And so here's this is like far out there. I don't think they're that good. But I will say, like, a strategic leak about how you're not doing something direct from Craig Federighi's team. Very fascinating in case you happen to have a very secret team actually working on that.
Yeah.
Right? Because it basically stops people looking.
Right.
Because this journalism, like, this is not journalism. It's just like this shitty rumor sites, and they only know where to look, and they base it based on what they hear. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
That's interesting. I think Material Design 2 is really, really good.
Oh my god,
solid.
So cool. And it's not even the finished version.
Yeah, it's not even launched officially.
Oh, the Google apps look so good.
Yeah, the Google apps look amazing, and I think that Apple's got some stuff in their back pocket design wise, so I think that we've got some exciting stuff coming. But I think we talked about this before we started recording.
Yeah,
it's a 3-dimensional graphic for the invite, and like I know the iMac Pro is like a punchline, but like
that is a punchline. It really
when
is.
they announced it, they were like, "This is perfect for AR and VR." Right? All the power you need for making VR stuff.
Definitely not doing that.
You don't think they're doing any VR stuff?
Oh, do you think? No, they are. I know they are.
I mean, like,
they're doing it in Wellington, New Zealand.
Really?
Yeah. They have a VR lab that works with Weta Workshop. I can tell you that. And I know where the office is, but it's not under Apple's name.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's in New Zealand. I'm pretty sure it's on the terrace in Wellington.
I think if we're going to get hardware this year that's new, it might be VR stuff.
Nah.
No, you don't think so?
Not this year.
I don't know.
If anything, it will be a partnership with somebody who's already making it.
Or
so
an
it looks
acquisition.
so it looks like they're not doing it. I don't think they want you to know that they're doing it yet.
Yeah,
so there's
but
a lot
why
of
would they
rumors about
tease
this.
it with the iMac Pro?
Because
you buy this $5,000 computer to make shit for the Oculus?
Okay,
Like,
that makes me laugh. However, I will say I think it's because they're scared shitless of all of those people switching platform for this.
Yeah.
So like VR development, you literally couldn't do it without a Windows.
Yeah, you build like a gaming PC.
Yeah. Oculus still doesn't officially support the Mac, by the way. You have to install Windows on your Mac to make it work.
Yeah, that's interesting because I'm a VR skeptic. Like, I don't think it's gonna ever take off.
Yeah,
I think it's 3D TVs.
Yeah, it is 3D.
It's just never gonna happen.
I have a tape brewing. That's why I'm looking at the distance.
Yeah, but I'm just skeptical on it because I think there's such a high barrier to entry, and if somebody can drive that down, Cardboard is
two takes here.
Cardboard's like an attempt where Google's like, here's a free piece of cardboard,
It's
or you
so
can
cute.
order it for like a couple bucks, or make your own and put your phone in it. But I think strapping your phone to your face is not the
it should be dedicated device.
Yeah, and dedicated devices.
And also, it gets hot.
Hundreds of dollars. So I'm waiting.
I'm gonna take.
Okay, go ahead.
Oculus Go launched a few weeks ago.
Okay, tell us.
Nobody knows about it because they did a shitty job of launching it right in the middle of Russia o'clock.
Did they do it at F8?
Yes.
Oh, see,
idiots! I didn't even pay attention because it was like Facebook dating, and I was like, right, I'm tuning out. Anyway, so they basically launched Oculus Go. Oculus Go is what you're saying. It's a standalone package for VR. So the thing has a device inside it already. It lasts 10 hours. No wires. It just charges. Whatever. Great. I have a feeling that category is where it is interesting.
Yes.
They need to sell it for less. It's currently, I think, $199 or $250, which is decent, but I think you need to get down to $150 to make it like silly money. However, the reason I think it's interesting is twofold. First of all, I have a weird story. I was in a car with somebody doing an Uber pool in San Francisco, and we were talking about how the future is really messed up. This is just like the topics I talk about in cars. And she worked at like financial institutions, and she's one of these people who looks at future technologies and their impact on the companies. It was fascinating.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Anyway, so we were talking in the back of the car, and she's like, "Oh my god, I have to show you this photo." And I'm like, "Okay, this stranger wants to show me a photo." She shows me a photo of her husband on the couch with his Oculus Go. She said that he had just gotten it, and he just sits there for hours in this world doing whatever. He'll be like, I'm watching a movie, and like he can't hear her. And so that's one. That's number one.
My mouth's on the floor.
I know, but like escaping worlds, I think, is something interesting with that thing because it's wireless. She said that they have the Oculus, the other one, the big one with the bajillion wires. And the problem with it is it's not immersive because you are tied to a wall.
Right.
If you can sit on your couch without like anything around and then move and then put it back on, it's crazy.
I mean, like I've heard that like flying on a plane with the like Samsung
that was going to be number 2
thing is like amazing.
So she told me that this thing, he had also flown with it immediately on the first day, and it changed his whole perspective. He said he was like a business class guy because he worked in the bank, and he flew with that. He was like, I don't give a shit where I sit anymore. I'll just put that thing on and just go in it the whole flight.
Holy shit.
But apparently it's just awesome. Like, I can get it because everything on a plane is terrible, like sensory overload, terrible. I hate planes.
Can we go back to you talking about the price point?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think if they go, so who's your market here, right? And like with technology like this, the best market is gamers.
Gamers and Christmas presents.
Yeah. If you can do Nintendo Switch, for like if Oculus Go becomes a Nintendo Switch, you could sell it for $300.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. That's an interesting point.
Gaming.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's quite fascinating to me that none of these companies have acquired any properties as well. So like Nintendo is still a company. Like, I'm just so surprised Apple doesn't have them and start like shoving that into their own things. I'm surprised that all of that. There's all this acquisition in the music space right now of like original content, and like it's not happening in games. And I find that really fascinating because it's such a big market that still is just not being touched at all because I think they're scared because it's very capital intensive. Yeah. Anyway, back to the point. I am not convinced that Apple will ship VR hardware yet. There's a lot of rumors that they're working on it. I'm 100% sure they're working on it. I just don't think that they can get it good enough yet to be, what's the word? So different from what's on the market, how they usually enter categories like Apple Watch. When it came out, I was like, holy shit. Like, every smartwatch to date before that was like this gimmicky plastic shit. Yeah. And the Apple Watch came out and it just didn't even look like a watch. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm also like an Apple Watch skeptic.
Oh, no.
We can talk about that later.
The launch of it was arguably like, nobody had seen anything like that.
I just don't think it's the right form factor yet.
I agree and disagree. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, WWDC, those are the rumors. Look, we'll talk about this next week after the thing. Tune in. It's in the show notes, the link. You can subscribe and it will tell you. That's that. So, next topic. We're post GDPR.
Woo!
We survived it. Did you accept our cookie warning to come here?
Oh my God.
Please accept the cookie warning or stop listening to this podcast.
So many pop-ups on websites.
So many huge pop-ups.
Yeah, like cannot use our product, cannot see what you're trying to accept.
Yeah, this is the problem. It's like you don't even know what's happening at all. You came to the website, you didn't even get like anything on the screen yet, and you got a cookie warning. Tumblr is my favorite one. Have you
the Tumblr one is like a crazy amount of toggles. Yeah,
328 toggles, and it hits you every time you go to the website, even if it's somebody's blog. But that's classic Yahoo, by the way.
So the one that I think of I've seen the most. You know how news sites are always like the paywall warnings, or you've read so many articles so far this month, it's your last chance. So Owen sent me the APK for the new Google News app.
Oh, it's
right.
Good.
I'm on the beta version of Pixel, the dev channel, and I'm trying it out. It's a great app. Mm-hmm. It's really like I put it in my dock. I like want to use news more. I want to check the news more outside of like checking Twitter. Mm-hmm. But every time I click on one of these articles, it hits a page that's like, oh, you're in Europe. Here's the thing, accept this. Oh, also, you've only done this many articles. You have this many left. It's kind of a lot. And I think the news industry is already hit enough with like advertising problems and losing their money, especially because of companies like Facebook and Google. So this is just like, it's another layer of like not wanting to click into articles.
Oh, it's just so annoying. It actually does make me stop reading.
Yeah.
The really fascinating thing about it is in Google News, when they use AMP, like the Google Accelerated Mobile Pages, it doesn't happen.
Okay, so let's talk about AMP for a second. So GDPR happened.
Yes, it's terrible.
USA Today's website.
Oh my God.
So if you go to USA Today from Europe.
Or just type in eu.usatoday.com, it also works.
Yep, do that. It's a way better website.
It's incredible, actually. It's like if you made a news site that worked.
Yeah, it looks like have you ever gone to like mobile Twitter on desktop?
Yeah, it's just really nice. And it's fast.
Like that.
It's fast.
It's so nice. So they got rid of all their ad tracking. They got rid of the ads. They got rid of all the JavaScript, is what I heard.
Oh, yes. 90% of it, yeah.
Someone looked at the size of the website. Their normal website, if you just go in the United States, it's 5.2 megabytes. It's 500 kilobytes. The EU site is 500 kilobytes. It's so small.
Wow, it's so fast. I've clicked on it by accident a few times, and it's amazing.
It's really what the web should be like.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because I had a discussion with somebody yesterday that is on this topic. It's like, okay, so here's an example of why publishers just mess this up over and over and over. Like publishing is just screwed right now because they're like, oh, well, okay, we're going to get a paid business model. Great. Full disclosure, we have a paid newsletter you can subscribe to.
Yeah.
But they do this thing where, so you go on New York Times and they're like, hey, you can pay us and support great journalism. And I'm always like, great. So I pay. The ads are still there.
It's like Hulu. You pay for a subscription.
Oh my God.
Ad. I can't stand it. It's not my favorite business model.
I think the whole industry is going to bottom out, and I think GDPR is starting it. They basically started the ad tech apocalypse, and I will give John Edgar credit for this because he predicted this many, many episodes ago, that ad tech would just basically implode. Or have to be based on a different model, right? Like tracking by default is not going to work. I think it's important that tracking exists for targeted ads. I think there's less weird ways to do it.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be this weird. I mean, here's an example. Okay, so we're in this post-GDPR world. I want to give you my favorite example. I'll embed it in the show notes. My TV yesterday got a software update.
I saw this.
A silent software update. So I turn it on, and it's like, oh, by the way, Android is upgrading. I'm like, okay, cool. Usually it asks me. And then it flash white, and then it came up with like this page that was GDPR. It was 9 screens of, do you accept this privacy policy? Do you accept this privacy policy from this other company?
Oh my God.
And then you got to the end and it would tell you all the things it was doing. And I just unticked everything because it was horrendous. I am surprised. Like, I think the reason that smart TVs have gotten so cheap is because they're monetizing the shit out of you without telling you until now. So it told me that I could opt in. No, I had to opt out of it. It was pre-checked, but I could opt out. There was one that like monitored what you clicked on and what apps you used and for how long, and targeted ads to you based on that cross-platform. Fascinating. Luckily, I wasn't signed into my Android TV.
Oh my God.
And all of these different things. And so what actually had happened is like Philips, the company that makes my TV, I love that TV in general.
Which TV do you have?
The Ambilight one with the crazy LEDs. I love it.
And it runs Android?
It runs Android.
That's cool.
But Philips hijacked the software and inserts their own shit at runtime that you can't uninstall. So it's like not allowed to do this. But Philips, because they control the ROM, they just like insert it, and it's crazy because you can delete it and it comes back. Like they're doing some dodgy shit behind the hood, but whatever. And these are the things you find out after you're getting the TV. And my favorite thing is all of the people who have mentioned me saying like, don't buy a smart TV. Have you tried not buying a smart TV? It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's so hard. I don't want it. I just want to plug in my own set-top box.
I want it.
Still come with this shit on it.
Well, I want this, but just give me like, I want Google to make the TV maker just like not do anything to it. Just like end to end. This is the reason I bought a smart TV in the first place. I actually trust Google to make the software better than I trust Philips to make software, or Samsung. Like Tizen is shit.
Yeah.
Like, and I trust Google to make good, because the Android TV thing takes over the TV menus and everything. So it's like all by Google.
That's nice.
The problem is, classic Google mistake, it's not managed by Google. So like all these TV vendors just like slather their own shit in it and make it worse. And so it's just fascinating because like GDPR has revealed the stuff that was going on before. And now you've got this option. But okay, so
well, that's like Instapaper, right? So Instapaper shut down in the EU with like 24 hours notice.
Even less. It was 8 hours.
Crazy.
They emailed at 1 a.m. Western Europe time.
And they're like, oh, it's because of GDPR. But
we didn't have time to do it. I'm like, it was 2 years ago that this was announced.
Yeah, but like, okay, so GDPR going into effect, like we talked about last week, you have to have a policy in place.
Right.
And you have to start thinking about, right to be forgotten and
the
right to have your data, right?
Yeah.
But why did they have to, what were they hiding?
Well, I had a lot of arguments / heated discussions with the founder guy, and we couldn't see eye to eye on it. He was very starry-eyed, San Francisco, like whatever about it. He kept saying, oh, it's because they underestimated the scope of work to be done by time. And I like, that's a nice, genuine reply, I thought.
Yeah.
Then I thought about it. I was like, but okay, first of all, why are you out here defending yourself alone when Pinterest owns you? Like this is not good optics for Pinterest, that they're basically like leaving you over here to do the thing, right? Like he's defending himself. Oh, sorry, I didn't have time. Pinterest must have GDPR people who are like, hey, you don't need to be ready, but assuming apparently that he doesn't get to share their lawyers, but isn't allowed to talk about what the actual problem is.
Yeah, it's
I think they're just
interesting.
doing data collection that they're not allowed to do.
Yeah,
Because here's the thing. So by shutting down, he doesn't have to disclose it, right? So if Philips would have updated, stopped the Android TV working, and then updated it and removed all the tracking software on after GDPR day, for example, they wouldn't have to disclose the shit they were doing before. This is the interesting thing about GDPR is like, if you update it and remove all the shady shit, you don't have to tell people what you were doing before. Essentially, that's what I think happened is Instapaper was doing a lot of things it shouldn't have, didn't remove them in time, and so shut down to remove them, and will relaunch and be like, we're not tracking you, see?
it's weird. It's a weird
shady.
move. It's a weird move. It's weird for Pinterest. So Pinterest, I mean, I used to work on a PR team, and our boss, Aaron, would always say that nobody hates Pinterest.
No, it's true.
They never have bad press.
No, they're not yet.
I mean, with a company that raises that much funding and doesn't have like,
they don't have Nazis.
Well, they don't have that. But you know, like sometimes it's been a little hard to understand how they're going to ever make money.
I still have no idea.
And so, but they don't get bad press, and it's amazing and good for their PR team. They must be great people.
That explains a lot.
Is this like a protect Pinterest a little bit moment?
Maybe. I mean, I wonder if it's like cast him out in the dark because we acquired him and he's going to make us look bad.
I mean, let's say Instagram had a horrible problem like this.
Yeah.
Would Facebook jump in front of that?
I assume Facebook's PR team would be roadblocking it. It doesn't make sense to me that he doesn't even have a Pinterest PR person who's saying they're an Instapaper PR person.
Well, it might be better to come from him.
Yeah, but it looks worse. It's so discontinuous. All he's been saying is, sorry, I hope we'll be back soon, but I can't say more. It's even worse. Like, just hire a lawyer to say that, and I'll feel better. Okay, anyway. So GDPR, I made a silly website that you should look at, gdprhallofshame.com. I spent half of my week last week taking phone interviews and dealing with the traffic on it because I was just like, okay, what if we just, the reason I'm bringing it up is you should look because I think it's
so
just,
funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I've basically been collecting the worst examples of this. And if you find one, please send it to me. I'm hoping to go on a couple of podcasts this week about it. It's been kind of fun. Like a lot of people have been like, you're very mean. And I'm sitting here, like you're mean to the people who work really hard on these flows. I'm like, yeah, but you're mean to your users for doing this. Like, I'm not trying to be mean.
Yeah.
I want to highlight how not to do it, basically. Maybe I'll make GDPR all favor.com.
Oh, snap.
Twitter's one was actually really good.
Really?
It was just like 2 screens with 4 switches, and it was just like, do you want targeted advertising? Yes or no? And it would turn everything off if you didn't. Do you want us to track you on website? No, it turns everything off if it doesn't. And like,
should I be worried that I never saw this?
It's rolling out. Like they haven't. It's I mean, this is how you should do it. You don't have to have everybody's acceptance on day one. You just have to roll it out and have a plan. Anyway, so I wanted to say one thing about the TV. I emailed them asking for a data export because that's part of GDPR. I don't think they expected anybody to read the terms and conditions to the end to find the email address about data exports, and I did. And I emailed them, and I think they're surprised somebody emailed them because they have no idea what to do.
Did they send you a response?
Yeah, they sent me a response like, hi, thanks for emailing privacy@philips.com. We will look into your request and we take it very seriously, but it may take some time to get back to you. That's it.
They have 30 days.
Well, they do. I emailed them back and I said, just a reminder that the deadline is now set on this date. I'm not solved. Well, I'm just like, okay, obviously this company was hoping that nobody would do this. And as a result, I want to know what they store. Right?
Right.
So anyway, that's enough about GDPR.
Okay, it's just weather update. It's raining in Amsterdam.
So hot. I'm gonna open the door.
Also like 30 degrees, 31. It's so hot. Anyway.
Okay, next on the
all right,
list.
I want to talk about Snap.
Okay, and it's like maybe how far are we? We can edit this part out.
Oh, we're like 42 minutes.
Okay,
in?
so maybe let's make this the last.
Yeah, we spent a while setting up the live stream.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but then we can keep it under 45 total probably if we do that.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I forgot to set the timer at the start. So this is
no, we're doing great.
Gets the insights.
Oh no, I was looking at Logic.
Yeah, cool. But everybody's hearing us organize.
All 2 of you.
Okay, so
yes, Snap released an API.
Oh my god, no, it's rumored.
I'm sorry,
a developer platform.
Snap rumored a developer platform, and I think this is really interesting because I don't use Snap anymore. I like Instagram stories, and
did you uninstall it?
Yeah, I don't even know how to log in anymore.
Yeah, I'm the same.
It goes two-factor to a phone number I don't have anymore.
Very active user.
Really?
Of Snap originally.
So that's interesting. I'd love to hear more about that and why you switched over. But
everybody, well, the TLDR is everybody stopped using it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends who were using Snapchat, and then everybody stopped using it.
It's really interesting because you would think that people go to all the other options, but like nobody's using Facebook stories. It's all Instagram.
Gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
So I think this is really a good move on their part. So the rumor is that you'll be able to put the Snap like broadcast in your app,
like the whole camera,
the whole Snap camera in your app.
Yeah, and so you are. I'm trying to think of an example. You are Airbnb. And you want people to share photos of their experience in this story. You can embed the whole Snap camera and add directly to the story. That's basically that's the idea. Is
that's cool.
Make it easier to add Snap as an experience and encourage people to share stuff.
If someone at Airbnb is listening, please do that. That's such a cool idea.
Oh, there you go. Please steal this. Yeah. But this is the premise, basically, is like where other companies have failed. Twitter should be doing this, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Twitter, why does Twitter not embed deep sharing shit natively? Why do they not have Twitter Kit? I'll tell you why, because they're incompetent. However, this is fascinating, most of all because they didn't ever allow this. Snap has been famous for not working with others.
But this is I think it's smart of them. I think it's interesting, and it makes me sort of tempted to poke around a little bit, download it again.
Well, the timing is incredible as well. The way that this has panned out is quite funny. Snap didn't have an API, so it meant that they didn't have any privacy problems, unlike Facebook. And now, now that Facebook's in trouble, they're locking down their API. They're going the opposite. They're becoming more insular. And Snap is like, hey, we're going to launch a developer platform that isn't shit. And they're apparently even working on login with Snap. So
I think this is smart, and I think it's really interesting.
It's also it's a classic platform play.
Yeah.
But the difference here being that they're so late to the game that it actually might work out for them.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going the opposite direction. Privacy, blah, 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 blah. Snapchat is in a position where they can actually advertise that as part of it, because they haven't done it to date, and they could actually save their platform.
Yeah,
in my mind, they basically enable a whole new category of things to happen. The biggest threat for them under this model is Apple just banning this.
Oh, interesting.
Well, right, Apple's never done this historically, but can you imagine how Apple might react if people start embedding Snap Kit instead of Camera Kit?
Right.
So instead of just having the native camera, they're always embedding Snapchat's camera. I don't think it would last.
Which is a wrapper around Camera Kit's baked in there.
Yeah, of course, but that's an interesting conundrum because it's in Apple's interest not to have that happen.
Yeah.
It's also in their interest to have it happen, but I just think they're so dumb at this stuff now that they would just block it later.
I'm in this place with Apple where every time
they just do dumb stuff,
a competition to them comes up, I'm like, why don't they?
Here's this week's. I've got this week's example for you. Okay, it makes me really mad too. Apple TV, great.
I love my Apple TV.
I returned it. We'll talk about that another time.
I didn't have a TV for a while.
Yeah.
And got a TV again because I wanted my Apple TV again.
Yeah, I just can't use it because A, you can't Chromecast to it, and B, the HDR is just so broken. Anyway. Apple TV.
Yeah.
Steam gaming company released, what's it called? Steam Valve. It's this. They have this Steam Link.
Yeah.
It's an app that on Android and every other platform, you can get it on your computer. You can stream one computer to another, so you can use it on your TV without having your whole thunking desktop there. So it's inside your home. Launched on Android, great. Launched on Apple TV. It was there for 24 hours, and then Apple banned it because they were like, well, you can purchase apps through this from Steam, and also you can stream inappropriate content to it. I'm like, stop being prudes.
You could just do it with AirPlay, but AirPlay sucks.
AirPlay does suck.
But it's so weird.
It's so anti-competitive.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, that was
it'll come around. Okay, so Snap. Okay, so Spectacles came out. I don't even remember. 2 years, 3 years, somewhere in there.
2 years.
And they had a great launch strategy.
It was incredible.
They're like, we're gonna do vending machines, and they're gonna be in the middle of fucking nowhere.
And people will drive there very quickly to get them because they were so hard to get.
They left one in the desert and people drove there for it. And I mean, like, genius. And they started popping up more.
I was refreshing that website all the time.
I wanted them. I was interested. I didn't use Snap that much then.
I didn't either.
But I was like, oh, this is cool. It's interesting. I want to know more about it. I want to see them in person. It took me months to see them in person.
Yeah.
And I saw like one person.
Yeah.
Versus when Google Glass came out, unfortunately, I saw a billion of them.
But that's why Snap is great at branding. Snap is very, very good at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was really impressed. And then, like, there was that article about like the tens of thousands of spectacles sitting in a warehouse somewhere. Holy shit.
So many.
Okay, so
it failed as a product.
I went to a department store in Amsterdam called the Bijenkorf.
The Bijenkorf.
I wish Frederick was here. She would pronounce.
Yeah, it's just like the most Dutch. It's just like the fancy. It's just like Macy's or something, but like
or like Nordstrom.
Yeah, but like dying.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a big department store. It's like 6 floors, something. It's giant. And I'm walking around. I'm like scoping out. I was looking for. I can't even remember what I was looking for, but there's this little electronics section. And there's this pile of spectacles sitting on a table, all discounted.
Oh,
and I was just like,
discounted at a department store.
I sent a picture to Owen immediately. I was like, this is here. First off, they're in Amsterdam.
Yeah, in person.
There's no security case. There's
retail.
Retail. They're just sitting on a table that's like, I don't know. It's like the Barnes & Noble bestsellers table. There's just like a bunch of electronics that no one has bought, sitting there, and again, discounted. I was really surprised. So I don't know. I'm really interested to see, like, did I have grabbed them?
Okay, so this is V2.
V2. Yeah, sorry.
It's just launched.
They just launched V2. I didn't mean to like.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But so the reason that I'm excited about V2 is they've refined a lot of the problems with it. It's a lot faster. The battery's better. Blah 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 blah.
They're a little bit different form factor.
Yeah, it's a bit smaller, less heavier. Blah blah blah. I really, really love them. I was just thinking, it's like a GoPro for your face. Like, I like the idea of that. It's less, the reason I liked it was like, if you're going to go on a boat, like we did in the weekend in Amsterdam and just drive around, I think it's cool to have a pair of sunglasses that you can take photos with without looking like an asshole pulling out your DSLR the whole time. I really think it's cool for that stuff. And I've heard it's cool if you have kids and like that kind of thing. I love that. Because it's just like, you go take a photo, carry on with your life.
Oh, that's interesting. Because when you said kids, I thought of like the Google Clip.
Oh yeah, I love that thing too. But Google just messed up by not giving it away for free. Anyway. So the biggest problem with them is, I think where you were going with this, they didn't work properly. To get them to work, you had to like open the Snap app, push this button, switch to the Wi-Fi settings, connect to them, go back to Snap, download everything, disconnect from the glasses. Otherwise, you couldn't use the internet anymore. That kind of thing. And so on Android, this is fixed with the new version. On iOS, not.
I remember now why I never bought them.
Yes,
and they were sitting there.
Apparently, it takes up to 5 minutes to get this process to work. It's just like Bluetooth pairing all over. And it sucks because here's the thing. We're coming back to Apple again. Apple doesn't want you to do this the way that Snap needs you to do it. So Snap is like basically screwed by the platform. Right? They can't make the product experience this magic where it just syncs or whatever because Apple doesn't let them.
So you're saying that now that I'm on Android,
you would actually have a great time. Sorry, I made it sound better. But the biggest issue right now is like, and this comes full circle to developer platform. Snapchat can sell their hardware a lot more interestingly if they can get it A, on my face, and B, in every other app. If I can record that shit in a different app, I'm sold.
So their API and new hardware together might save Snap.
What if I didn't have to use Snap to use their platform?
Oh, see, that's genius.
Like, it's an interesting question, right? Like, what if you could use, like, I'm interested in using Snapchat. I'm not lying. Like, I'm genuinely interested, but I'm more interested in natively capturing those things and sharing them on there maybe later. And so if they would either just like make some sort of way to auto launch it, I don't know, like, or embed it in every other app. Like, what if I could share natively from my spectacles and Instagram stories? I mean, it's not a lose.
I would 100%
do that for Snap, right? No. Like, what if the platform actually let you post on both? Like,
I would do that in a heartbeat.
And I think Snap is maybe in a position to do that now.
Do you think their API also means other third-party hardware? So
yeah,
you mentioned GoPro. Yeah. Like, that would be cool if you could stream your GoPro to your stories.
I would love. That would be amazing. What if you had the drone thing?
Oh yeah, drones are.
Skydio. Have you seen the Skydio drone? Holy shit! We should talk about that.
I'm
machine learning. Oh yeah, me too. Machine learning drone. So into it. So basically, TLDR, Skydio is a drone that costs $3,000, which is crazy. But it has onboard machine learning, not cloud assisted, that understands what things look like. And so you say like, I want to follow me.
Oh,
so
I have
on the
seen
app,
this.
you tap you, then you tap it, and then I'll embed a video. It's like you watch the videos and you're like, this is nuts. Like we can't do this already. And basically what it does, so you would be on a run in the forest.
And it follows
it's following you, but it's also dodging the trees and like adjusting its own height and going around objects and not crashing.
That it's so cool. I just like
And that and Snap. Give it to me.
I hate to take it here, but I'm still worried about like the military applications.
Oh
and
yeah,
shit like
I mean,
this.
yesterday they released an update for this thing. Now it can track cars, and I was like, cool, because that's the military. Like the FBI is buying these. I'm telling you this.
Yeah, this is military technology.
Well, it's just consumerized military technology. Like it's technology because it's on the consumer market. They can now buy it and use it without alerting people to the fact that they're building it.
Yeah. Until they do their quarterly earnings, and it's like 1/4 of our money is from the DoD.
Well, that's one like payroll like place.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's promising. I really like the idea of a Snap platform as well. I actually saw it, and my first gut reaction was, ugh, whatever. And then I was like, this is actually fundamentally a genius Spiegel moment.
Yeah.
Is like if they would go now and integrate with all these different platforms, Spotify, and do custom filters that can integrate with stuff. I just think that throwing the doors open now is interesting timing and quite smart.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this, to be honest.
Yeah,
and I didn't think I'd say that about Snapchat in 2018.
I'm surprised. I'm going to come back to this.
Yeah,
and I'm going to like pull you up on this. I will say that on the flip side, Snap is dying, actively dying right now, and that's like it's very easy to be hyped. But if they did earnings yesterday, man, it was bad. It's like negative 328 million last quarter.
I mean, look at just their stock chart from their IPO.
I own Snapchat stock. I hate myself.
I can't believe you bought it.
It was so hype at the launch.
It was before we knew each other, and I was a podcast listener at the time. When you said you bought Snap shares,
well, John and I both did. I think
I was like screaming at the podcast. I was like, "Don't do it!"
See how much money I've lost? I didn't put much into it because they weren't worth much at the time. I think I maybe put 500.
I feel like you used to talk about stocks more on the podcast.
Oh, I love talking about stocks. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm long on, and then I'll shut up.
Okay, what are you long on?
Shopify.
Absolutely.
It's the only shopping platform that matters.
Well, okay, so I'm biased here.
E-commerce.
So Square just bought Weebly. I used to work at Square, full disclosure, and I didn't know this was happening. So like, I'm not sharing any privileged information here. But I mean, I wouldn't count them out.
Have you used Weebly?
Yeah,
I would count them out.
Yeah, but you've used Square.
Yes, it's great, but I don't trust. Okay, here's my take. Genius acquisition. Actually, genius. They should have bought Webflow. They bought shit Webflow.
I agree with you,
but I don't think they could have.
Okay, so
afforded Webflow.
Just since we're talking about this, like
so many, like
Adobe bought Marketo.
Oh no, that's right.
And that was
you mean they also bought Magento?
Oh, Magento.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So I thought you meant Marketo. That also exists. Magento is the only other e-commerce platform. I love that this is a total tangent. Magento is the only other e-commerce platform out there that is big. Like big. I mean, like if you're not using Shopify, you end up on Magento.
Interesting.
And it's open source and it's self-hosted, and that's why everybody uses it.
Okay, so
as somebody who used it for 2 years, it almost made me leave the industry.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Okay, so you were talking about it in your newsletter.
Yes.
About how this is Adobe's shot at Shopify.
Yes.
But I think it's also its shot at Webflow and Squarespace.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because Squarespace is such a large business for building and designing things.
And they don't have e-commerce yet, do they? Oh, they do.
Yeah, oh, it's good.
Square Commerce. You know that Webflow is also launching something. Squarespace Commerce.
Yes.
Oh my God! Why did Square not buy Squarespace?
I know, it would have been so nice.
Square. Oh my God!
But so, Adobe, like, it used to be the software you would have to buy to build web pages, right? You'd use DreamWorks or whatever, Fireworks. You design it in Photoshop. There were so many people building websites in Adobe, and they've all migrated to these WYSIWYG editors like Squarespace.
Yeah, nice stuff.
Or Webflow.
Yeah, it's a good point. And Shopify has that built in.
Right. And so I think that Adobe did this acquisition to like try and compete in a space where people are building stuff.
I think Adobe did exactly that, but Adobe made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And here's why. It doesn't compete.
Right.
And so it's a classic. I suspect that Adobe acquired this simply because on paper it looks really good. So Magento is actually, this is the problem with Magento. Everybody online talks about how great it is because nobody's going to go online and talk about how shit. Like, it's easier to find good reviews about these things than it is bad. And most of these Magento projects end up spending so much money that everybody loves them because they've got this sunk cost fallacy. All I can say is when I was dealing with it, I won't say where, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on getting it to work like a normal website, let alone like here's an example of like what a normal day would look like. If you need to update a product, if you're launching a new product, it'll be 36 clicks just to put it up. Like it's already in the system, which took you 3 days.
Oh my god!
And if you put it in, if you click in the wrong order, it will break the thing, so you have to delete it and do it all again. It's like if a bunch of backend developers got together, never talked to anybody, built this crazy backend, and then we're like, oh, we also need a front end, and then also built that with backend technology, and then launched it, and then realized that they'd never tested it with anybody. That's how they built the new Magento. Oh my god, hosting Magento site, 50K visitors. What would you think this would cost?
I don't know.
Okay, just ballpark.
I mean, like, I pay like $100 a year for Squarespace.
Okay, so monthly cost for Magento to get it performing-ish for that many people, over 1,500 euros a month. Jesus. Like, the problem with it is it's a platform that's just like built for the CTO to buy it because it checks all the boxes, right. And it's self-hosted. That's the huge play here. It's the only self-hosted platform. Oh, it's the only one. Unfortunately, your company will probably go bankrupt before you launch it. Oh also, that Magento developers are specialized PHP developers that cost twice as much. This is like in that SAP territory where it's suspicious. And the problem with it is like it's built as a platform for those people. And that's why I think Adobe bought it. I can tell you that people are running from this shit. And so Square is an interesting position right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always going to be pro Square. I think they've made a lot of really smart choices.
I love this as a total tangent.
All right, so you're long on Shopify.
Shopify, I'm long on Shopify for this reason. I love that this ended up being just like the stocks things we did with John before. John, tell us what you're buying right now. Just write in Slack. No, Discord. So I'm long with Shopify, because they have a huge lead here. They have a huge lead. It's so good. Unfortunately, the lead they don't have is with larger businesses. Shopify falls apart really fast when you're big. If you're a company that's doing more than $1 million in revenue, you're going to have a bad time. You can't, it's not very, like you can't, going custom, basically you have to go get a bespoke bullshit from them, and then you're locked into $1,000 a month minimum. Genius, because you can't migrate away from it. We were going to move to it. Unfortunately, that's the only, like, there's no other option. Like, if you look at the market after that, it's then Magento and then a lot of small players.
Right.
Well, it immediately gets really WooCommerce. Would you like to trick a blog into being an e-commerce?
Can we talk about Etsy for a second?
Etsy, oh my god, it exists.
Because they changed their business model when they wanted to IPO, and alienated a ton of
everybody, all of their creators, all of their customers.
Yeah. I mean, their customers, like the shops. But totally.
Two-sided market.
The buyers as well. But I know they're trying to fix their problems, but do you see them as even a competitor in this space anymore?
No. Well, they're in that. So that's the other side of this whole thing. They're in the commoditization side. So it's like Amazon. Like the other side of this equation is: do you need Shopify if Amazon exists? Because you no longer have a storefront. You're not really a brand at that point. And so Etsy, I kind of lump them in that category because they're like Amazon, but a bit kinder. But like, I just don't. Etsy was where you went when you thought the Amazon results weren't good enough. Like, I want more handmade version of this generic thing I'm buying. Like,
right, you don't want to buy a factory.
I don't mean to like put it down any more than that, because I do respect Etsy as a company, and they have been pretty cool to their creators in the past. Not anymore. But I like the idea, and I think it is a threat, but it's not the same thing. I think what we're more describing is a big shift in the internet that like nobody uses their own stuff anymore, and I find it really sad.
Yeah, it's lots of like working with platforms.
Well, it's like maybe this is a topic for a future podcast, but like I run my own websites and stuff, and that's actually pretty rare now. Like most people aren't getting a web server and putting Magento or Craft Commerce or whatever CMS you want on them and running it anymore. You go to medium.com, you sign up, and you put your domain name on it. You go to Squarespace, you put your domain name on it. And that's the interesting thing that's happening here is Shopify is like a hosted version of that, and that's why I think they're succeeding. Is like it is on their service, but they've done really well at letting you differentiate. Like you can customize a lot and you can write the code if you want. It's just a really bad experience, in which I will not get into that. Or you can self-host. And I think Shopify walks the line really well, whereas others do not.
I think also you bring up the point of like self-hosting, and I think most of the products and services I go to now are either on AWS
Yep.
or Microsoft or Google's cloud services. When do they start getting in this game? When do you do AWS plus hosting?
I am,
plus, it's just all there.
I am surprised that it doesn't exist already a little bit. So DigitalOcean bridges this quite well. Full disclosure, I have freelanced for DigitalOcean in the past. This is not an ad, but you should go to my profile. I'm kidding. I don't need credits. So DigitalOcean does this really well. They actually have like these single-click apps, and you just choose like the thing you want. If you want Magento, it'll be like Magento on Ubuntu, and it's just like set up.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I wondered often, and I wish John was here for this because he'd probably accidentally leak something about their roadmap. I have wondered very often about the future of this, simply because, like, why doesn't you're right. So Square, for example, if Square was DigitalOcean and they acquired Weebly, it'd be a fascinating play to put Weebly at the very top of that deployment thing. It's like, hey, put your DigitalOcean Weebly online. Like, I would love to see more of that from the players. It's like Heroku used to do a good job of this, but just kind of stopped when Squarespace acquired them. Not Squarespace, Salesforce. God, too many S's. Salesforce acquired Heroku. Didn't know this.
I didn't know that either.
It's like 5 years ago.
I had no idea.
A million years ago in tech time. Anyway, but it is weird. It is weird. Like, self-hosted, I think, will become more of a thing again, kind of coming full circle after this whole privacy thing. And everybody wants to own this shit. I love running blog and I love self-hosting, but I am surprised that like you don't see that often. It either ends up being SaaS, like Ghost CMS.
Sure, yeah.
CMS that they host for you, or you download yourself. Rare. Now, what would be interesting is if DigitalOcean acquired Ghost, and then it was the CMS of DigitalOcean that they did all the things on. And that's, I do wish there was a platform that had opinions like that. Like, here's all the apps that we like natively own. I mean, it's maybe anti-competitive, but I am surprised by that not existing yet.
Yeah.
Just like, that's the special DO flavor of like Etsy.
Yeah, I might roll back what I said about AWS though. Like, maybe it's in their interest not to compete with their customers.
Yes. Although, like, Stripe does exactly this, so
that's fair.
Anyway, we should wrap it up here. I love this total tangent. I shop by shares. Kidding. Not investment advice, please God. Also, I'm not a lawyer. Many things. I'm not many things.
Our advice is don't buy Bitcoin.
Oh my, yeah. I'm like long on not buying Bitcoin. Jesus. All right. Okay. So let's wrap up there. A few notes. Number one, if you listen this far, you probably may know already that we have started experimenting with the community. If you go to the show notes, you can get a magic link that lets you into our magic new community. Please come and hang out and try it with us. I also just love when people talk to us. In the show notes, you'll also find this week a link to next week's WWDC live stream. So if you want to tune in for that, it will be on YouTube, but
after WWDC.
Yeah, you can click a button and it reminds you on the YouTube app. It's really cool. We'd love to hang out. We will take live questions. It's just going to be a very different format from this. I think it'll just be mostly us being like, what the heck?
All of our hot takes.
And also just like probably a little drunk. So there's that. It'll be the Drunk Tech Podcast.
Right, because it's not 10 a.m.
Yeah, it'll be like 10 p.m. because it takes like 3 hours and you can't move. Anyway, so come suffer with us together.
Come watch us take bathroom breaks.
And then we'll be doing like video and stuff, so I think it'll be really fun. It's an experiment with like video podcasting, which I should talk about in a different episode.
Oh my God, I have so much to talk about.
Also, please review us on iTunes. It means a lot. It also helps us a lot to like go on the list. I hate asking for reviews. Please like and subscribe. But it actually does, like, even if you go there and you put a thumbs up or a hibiscus emoji, I'm so happy. So
follow all of us on Twitter.
Yeah, and also you can follow us all on Twitter. All the links are on the website. So you should just go to chargepodcast.com, click on the thing, and you get everything you need to do. Come hang out. We just love to meet you because it's always a bit anonymous talking to the internet. Cool.
Especially in the live stream.
Yeah. All right. And thank you for the internet people who listened.
Thanks for joining us.
All right. Bye, biscuits.
Bye, biscuits.
Bye, biscuits. See you on the internet next week. Okay.
Boop.
Bye, YouTube people. Thank you for listening. I hope it wasn't terrible. I think we should only do it with one microphone when we record.
Yeah.
Because this one, the Yeti Blue, actually has, and I'll ask for feedback from the YouTube people separately, but this one has a setting where you can widen the field of it. We put it here and face the desk and talk.
Genius.
Okay, cool. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Outro music.
Yeah, this is what I do every week. You could edit a whole episode together of that. All right. Bye for now.
Bye, biscuits.